Where's Scott? There he is.
The sacrifice.
Good evening and welcome to the February 25th meeting of the Garden Grove City Council. We're actually going to start with our Housing Authority section, so I'll hand it over to Fat.
Sure. Madam Clerk, please roll call.
Commissioner Beckles.
Here.
Commissioner Bradigam.
Here.
Commissioner O'Neill.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Klopfenstein. Here. Commissioner Deidre Here. Commissioner O'Neill.
Here.
Commissioner Commissioner Solorio.
Here.
Vice Chair Kim Nguyen.
Here.
And Chair Bui.
Here.
Gotta think about that one. Double here.
Yeah. For auto communications, we are going to do that in conjunction with the City Council auto communications. And we'd like to move to the consent items.
I'll move them. Both.
Any second?
Second.
Please call for the vote.
Okay. Motion received, 9 yes votes.
Matters from the Commission? Hearing none, I'm closing the Housing Authority and adjourn back to the City Council meeting.
Pat. Okay, we will convene the Garden Grove City Council. Madam Clerk, would you like to call roll?
Councilmember Bradigam.
Here.
Councilmember Deidre Nguyen. Here. Councilmember Bui.
Yeah.
Councilmember Klopfenstein. Here. Councilmember Kim Nguyen. Here. Mayor Pro Tem O'Neill.
Here.
And Mayor Jones.
Here. All right, can I ask Assistant City Manager Maria Stipe to do the invocation, and then Councilmember Kim Nguyen to lead us in the pledge.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If everybody could please stand and prepare yourselves according to your faith. Dear Heavenly Father, as we gather tonight to make decisions for our Garden Grove community, help us to use our best skills and judgment as we evaluate the merits of each matter before us. May we always act in accordance with what is best for our city and our fellow citizens. Amen.
Amen.
Lift your right hand over your heart, face the flag, and repeat after me. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, that takes us to item 1, presentations. We have 2 different ones, so start with 1A, a community spotlight.
Item 1A is a community spotlight in recognition of Aristocrat Pet Supplies as a long-standing business in the community with more than 35 years of service. And Ms. Stipe will read the community spotlight.
Thank you, Ms. Pomeroy. Tonight, the Garden Grove City Council would like to recognize Aristocrat. Doing that. I have pets on my mind.
She's making up her own pet story.
Aristocrat Pet Supplies for being a long-standing business in the community with more than 35 years of service. Would Bill and Lynn Simpson please come forward? If you can just stand in front of the podium up here. In 1976, Bill and Lynn bought a house in West Garden Grove. When Bill retired from the National Football League in 1982, they decided his next career would be in the pet industry. A family-owned business, Aristocrat Pet Supplies, was established in 1984. Since then, it has seen many different transitions. Aristocrat Pet Supplies used to only sell live animals and pets, including birds, lizards, and puppies. Now, however, they carry sports cards and memorabilia and also provide dog grooming services. Bill and Lynn have 4 children. 3 of them, Jason, Sarah, and Virginia, now help to run the business today. Garden Grove values the importance of family-owned businesses to the city's local economy and quality of life. And at this time, the mayor and city council would like to present Aristocrat Pet Supplies with a certificate of recognition for their accomplishments and their 36 years of service in Garden Grove. Congratulations.
No, thank you. I ran for 6 years and about 33.
So we've got a recognition, and then we've got a little glass deal for you too.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Do you want to maybe come up? We'll take a picture real quick.
All right. Actually, a little known item. Where does what? Lisa worked for us for a while.
Well, there you go.
Bring your store for you once when you went on vacation.
This way.
That's cool.
Alright. Ready. 1, 2, and 3. Can we actually add one more step this way?
Bit more center.
Ready. 1, 2, and perfect.
That must be George's. It's not missing.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
that.
old man photo, big screen.
One up to the mic.
I'd like to thank the city council for this honor. It's tough to go 36 years for any business, much less a small business like ours. But it's been a great time in the West Garden Grove area. Can't thank the people there enough for supporting us for all these years. And who would think a family could stay together for 36 years as a business? But it can happen, and we just thank the Lord that He's blessed us with the last 36 years to be in Garden Grove. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. All right, item 1B is recognition of the Police Department Community Impact Team, presented by Chief DeRay.
Mr. Mayor, council members, and staff, I wanted to take this opportunity basically just to introduce you to the members to our newly formed Community Impact Unit. Let me introduce Sergeant Bob Stevenson, where are you at? Master Officer Claudia Alarcon, Master Officer Nick Almeida, Master Officer Matt Marchand, Officer Brian Gergenti, Officer Mike Jensen, and Officer Philip Pham. The Community Impact Unit will be responsible for seeking solutions to a variety of community-based issues and crimes. As issues arise, these officers will be responsible for directly addressing these issues using a multi-level approach to include enforcement, community outreach, and working with all specialties within our department. The officers will be required to use modern problem-solving techniques as well as developing new strategies to address community problems as they arise. The officers will also identify crime trends in our community and use various crime-fighting efforts to lower crime rates and target reoccurring offenders who prey on the members of our community. I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members, and staff for your continued support, and especially your support on creating this unit, the Community Impact Unit, that will have a positive impact to all our community members. So thank you. I just wanted to introduce them to you all, that's all. So thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you all.
Thank you guys for taking the time to come in. Alrighty then, that takes us to oral communications. I do have a stack of cards, so we'll dive right in. Ask everybody to keep comments to about 3 minutes each, starting with Craig Durfee.
Just a moment, please. My name is Craig Durfee, for those audience, for the purpose to, just not for my ego, but for the community. My name is Craig Durfee, founder of Parents' Right for Developing Children. I am, for the last 8 years, worked hard to address the loss of life in our community. It's been blamed because of the lack of education. The governor just recently put $2 million to stop the death toll in our communities. I hope you understand, we've got to deal with this issue. We need to understand, I provided you a Kupator, if I pronounced it correctly, in your packet. Bicycle Pedestrian Commission. It's in here. It's an awesome site. A Bicycle Pedestrian Commission, which is really what we don't have in our community. Teen Commission, mental health. It's just awesome. Teresa just thought it was a great site. So it's in your packet. But what I'm concerned about is I am a stakeholder. It's your words, sir, Mayor. We need the ping pong approach. Sir, it's a staff problem. Craig, it's the commission, it's the city council commission or council problem, and I'm in the between the sandwich with peanut butter and maybe a different jam each time. Okay, and we've got to stop this insanity because our environment is being impacted by the government order of the budget this year. It's not that hard. You spent $340,000 for a project that everybody's agreed to. Why is it I can't get on the traffic commission to discuss it for the next council traffic commission? Oh, geez, we're full. Well, that was yesterday, and it's March 3rd, and last time you canceled it. Why are we having it difficult to move forward and discuss it like other cities do? That's up to the council. It's not staff, because you work part-time. Doesn't justify the ping pong approach, because they're not dealing with the 6 E's. And there are grants coming, the Tiger Grant coming up here in March. If you missed that one, and the school district is very interested, by the way. All of you give them a call. The other thing is, just have 3 minutes, is there, for the audience, for the community, and for the officers that were here, that dogs are sacrificing their lives. And I'm going to show here, you have a presentation. It's sad, it broke my heart over the weekend to program it. It's on your new website for Garden Grove on my socialmotionpause.org, the third one at the bottom. It's all with a slide of Garden Grove. If you want to have pictures of the community, I'll post it for you. Then you have Sean Nelson's work. I'll have to post it tomorrow with you. I thought I had copies of everything, but it is the concept of an awesome additional park space for your community. You don't have to go have thousands of dollars an hour. Just take a walk with your engineers and the mayor and do what Sean Nelson did because it rocks, okay? And what the thing is with this is, I'm going to find here quick because I got 3 minutes and it's just difficult, 2-3 minutes. But is the picture I presented to you of water features for dogs. You don't have the 4-inch main that you need across the project just to bury it. You don't have to do any more than bury the pipe and have it ready for the next step of your park addition, for your drinking fountains and so forth. See, it's not hard to do this 3 minutes, sir. And you have some hours, thousands of hours to help your city. And I'm saying we need to put your, being an OCT member and chair, show an example to the OCTA. Show us the lead and direction, sir.
Thanks, Craig. Tom Braber.
Mr. Stiles, that melts your heart.
Not yet. I haven't come up there yet. What is an emergency and life-threatening? I called the Garden Grove City Hall today to see what they say. It says, if you have an emergency, please hang up and call 911. I called the Garden Grove Police Department. It says, if you're a life-threatening emergency, please hang up and call 911. I have over 30 years of telephone experience. All post offices in California, big institutions, they all say the same thing. If you have an emergency, please hang up and call 911. So, let's go back to code enforcement. On November 18th, 2019, I emailed a complaint about a illegal fence being put up next door and on the back side of Valley View. David replied that he received the email. December 5th, 2019, I received an email said, this is not life-threatening emergency. December 18th, I received an email from David Dent saying that it's been passed to the planning department. January 22nd, 2020, received an email that it was closed. February 7th, 2020, I had to take my mom to ER because she was dying. She was dying because of her heart and her gallbladder. Come to find out, stress has an effect on your heart and your gallbladder. So for the city of Garden Grove to state in an email that a code that is in violation is not life-threatening needs to be changed. So your guys' new concept of the 4 phases, you guys need to rethink that. Because I guess a 8-foot fence is life-threatening. Shed. Last meeting, there was a lady that said that she had a shed in her backyard for 25 years. And because somebody complained about something else on her property, she had to remove it. I drove West Garden Grove. I drove East Garden Grove, and I drove Central Garden Grove just to drive around and think about my mom that's in the hospital. And you know what I saw just driving on the streets? Not even sheds. I saw structures. Structures within the 5 feet, within the property line. Let's talk about the 5 feet of the property line. Did you know that you cannot build a fence next to a fence unless the neighbor next door says it's okay? Also, you cannot build a fence against the fence because you have to have a 5 foot, you have to be 5 feet from the property line. So therefore, my complaint originally was just the height. But it looks like there's more of a setback, and I never received anything from the neighbor next door that they could put an 8-foot fence next to a home that's been there since 1964 with original fence since 1964. So let's go back to that shed. I feel sorry for that lady that had the shed in her backyard for 25 years. Who knows what the code was back then? Who knows? And that's what's bad. The house that our family has in 64, who knows what the codes were back then? You know, there's no records. My thing is right now is the city needs to sit down and redo their non-life threatening emergency on codes. Because you know what? Any call could be a life threatening on the person that's calling it. That's why they are calling it. And
Thank
my
you.
mom also deserves. to be-
Cynthia Guerra.
Good evening. My name is Cynthia Guerra, and I am a member of the Rise Up Willowick Coalition. I'm here today to speak on the resolution the council will be voting on today to declare the Willowick site surplus land. I'm glad to hear that the council is finally acknowledging what the coalition and its residents have always known to be true, which is that the Willowick site is surplus. It is surplus now under AB 1486, and it was surplus under the original Surplus Land Act last December when the council was close to selling illegally and selling and leasing the land to the McWhinney firm. But now that we are on the same page about whether this land is surplus or not, which it is, I would like to raise some concerns regarding the city's real commitment to actually comply with the Surplus Land Act. The law states that Garden Grove must prioritize the development of open space and affordable housing on the Willowick site because it's surplus. To facilitate this, the city must notify open space and affordable housing entities that land is available and then give them 60 days to respond to that notice with interest, showing interest. If any entity shows interest, the city must negotiate with the interested entities in good faith over a 90-day period. The key word here is in good faith. However, from what I have read in the resolution presented today, I question whether good faith negotiations will actually occur. In the resolution, it says that the city continues to have as its goal to use the Willowick site in a way that generates revenue. The idea that the city will negotiate in good faith with affordable housing and open space developers, while at the end stating that they want to use the land to generate revenue, is contradictory. Reading this signals to me that the city is just ticking off boxes, so they seem to be complying with the Surplus Land Act, but they don't have an intention to actually do so. And part of the reason why I'm also skeptical of whether or not the city will actually comply with the Surplus Land Act is because no one on this dais has reached out to any residents to speak on the matter. And we have sent emails before the lawsuit was submitted on October 7th, and after the lawsuit was submitted, we have also come here multiple times to give public comment, to have you all reach out to us, to actually speak to all of you. We have submitted letters. We submitted one letter today. And every time I come on to speak here, I say we have submitted a letter where we have our contact information to which you can reach out to. So on our end, the residents have always made themselves available and have gone the extra mile to reach out to all of you so that you can come out and talk to us about what we actually plan to do on this Willowick site. So if there is actually an intention to comply with the land, that's great. To comply with the law, that's great. But you haven't spoken to any residents about this. You don't know what our vision is. I mean, we have made it available, but you haven't had a discussion with us about it, with any residents. So again, I hope that you reach out to us to again talk to us. Our contact information is on the letter we submitted today. I have emailed all of you, so you should also have that contact information. So reach out to us, really talk to us about what it is that residents need to see on that land. What you did at the end of last year in December showed to us that you really had no idea what they wanted in the land, or that you completely disregarded what they wanted to see on that land. So reach out to us, please. This is not just, I know that you're Garden Grove City Council, this affects Garden Grove residents, if it affects Santa Ana residents, it affects all the residents in Central Orange County. So please reach out to us. I think all of you are also thinking of those residents as well. And this is a cycle coming up, so please let us know.
Sean Drexler.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Sean Drexler. I'm a member of the Rise Up Willowick Coalition as well. It's really troubling to see that your resolution includes the language of revenue generation for the city, as Cynthia was saying. As we all know, there's a reason why open space and affordable housing developers don't have huge lines of city mayors out their doors. The things that benefit working class communities are not the same things that bring in huge revenue for the city. Open space and affordable housing is not a profitable market. So the fact that the resolution is still talking about revenue generation really makes me wonder if these negotiations are truly in good faith. And what will those negotiations look like? Are you going to notify all the other entities required by the Surplus Land Act? I ask because today's resolution states that the council is notifying the 169 entities who are on the HCD's list of housing sponsors that are interested in surplus land. However, that list today includes 357 entities, so it looks like you missed a few. Based on the resolution presented today, it would seem the city is not properly compliant with the Surplus Land Act. This and other irregularities in the city's plans to comply with the Surplus Land Act is really disconcerting. To this point, the city now more than ever needs to meet with residents and involve them in the compliance process to ensure that the city is truly complying with the Surplus Land Act and that it truly plans to negotiate in good faith with entities interested in creating parks and deeply affordable housing. These decisions continue to be made behind closed doors without transparency to residents who have been demanding more information in this process. City council members have not yet met with residents to learn about the community's vision for Willowick or even to provide them with more information regarding the disposition of Willowick, despite residents having reached out to members multiple times through emails and in person during public comment at city council meetings. We need this process to be transparent to the residents and to the public so we can make sure it's being done in a way that is beneficial primarily to the Willowick communities. And while most of us are from Santa Ana, this is not licensed to dismiss us. This land directly affects Santa Ana residents as much as it affects Garden Grove residents and has an impact on the whole region of Orange County, given the size of the property. If Willowick is not addressed in an equitable way, it can lead to the already big problem of homelessness experienced in Garden Grove and Santa Ana by displacing and pricing families out of their community. We want our communities to be invested in, not depleted or exploited from its already scarce resources.
Michelle Zuniga.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Michelle Zuniga. I'm here on behalf of Rise Up Willowick as well, urging that you all move forward with the process of declaring Willowick surplus in a transparent and inclusive manner. As we have mentioned in the past, there is a great amount of worry that residents, renters, and homeowners have over what will happen with the Willowick site. A lot of that fear has to do with lack of information and a lack of inclusion in the planning process of what goes on with the property of which they have lived beside for a long time. Moving forward, we hope that you all would adopt inclusive measures, authentic modes of engagement with all residents who would be impacted on this site in either a direct or indirect way. I urge you all to take protective measures to protect longtime residents and homeowners by adopting just development principles that seek to reduce a disparate impact on the surrounding community as well, and that includes renters. Many people could not attend tonight considering work or family obligations, but we would hope that you and your staff would bend over backwards to accommodate, include residents in the planning process, whether it's going door to door yourselves, going to local schools, local organizations to learn about the immense need there is for open space and affordable housing in the area. Thank you for your time.
Karen Rodriguez.
Good evening. My name is Karen Rodriguez. I'm a member of the Rise Up Willowick Coalition, and we are here today again to ask the City of Garden Grove for inclusion and most importantly, transparency. We are asking for the council to do more than just trying to check off boxes, to talk to community residents about our vision for our neighborhood and development. Tonight's information on the resolution provided by the city shows the same intent as it always has, to develop Willowick for profit, with no true regard for community vision. We ask for good faith negotiations. The city's intent is contradictory, as there is no true want for this from the city for good faith negotiations, if the intent is to develop Willowick for profit stays true. We once again ask for inclusion in this process and for the City of Garden Grove to be intentional about complying with the Surplus Land Act. As you are declaring our land surplus, it is your responsibility to meet with us. Thank you.
Robert? Oh, not here? Okay. Sam Diaz?
She went ahead.
I will be interpreting as for Sam today because he speaks Spanish, and there's no interpreters here today that speak
Sure.
Spanish.
Buenas noches a todos. Gracias por estar aquí, aceptarme. Yo vengo también como parte de Willowick.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for accepting me here today. I also come as a member of the Rise of Willowick Coalition.
Yo llegué a este país en el 90 y llegué a Garden Grove, exactamente lo que es Chapman y Harbor.
So I came to this country in 1990, and I came to Garden Grove exactly on what is the cross between Chapman and Harbor Boulevard.
Y en estos casi 30 años, las ciudades de Orange County han crecido enormemente. Desapareció donde yo llegué.
So, and in those last 30 years, the cities in Orange County have grown immensely. Something disappeared.
Sí, desapareció el lugar donde, los departamentos donde llegué.
Okay. The apartments that I actually came to originally disappeared.
La construcción de hoteles, negocios, ha sido muy grande en todas las ciudades, pero más lo que yo he visto en Garden Grove.
The construction of hotels and businesses has happened a lot throughout the whole county, but it has happened more in the city of Garden Grove.
Cuando yo llegué aquí, había muchas áreas de fresa, de cultivo de fresas.
When I first got here, there was a lot of areas with crops, strawberry crops.
Y parece que ya no hay, o ya no he visto, ya no hay.
And today, I haven't seen anything anymore. I haven't seen any more strawberry crops anywhere.
El día viernes hubo un debate sobre los candidatos en Santa Ana, y el candidato Miguel Pulido dijo que Santa Ana es la tercera ciudad más congestionada del país.
So on Friday, he attended a forum for the Orange County Supervisors candidates. And one of the candidates, Miguel Pulido, said that Santa Ana was the third most congested and densest city in the country.
Cuando yo escuché sobre Willowick y cómo está la situación, yo tengo la esperanza de que ustedes como Garden Grove y Santana tengan la inteligencia de hacer lo correcto por la comunidad.
When I heard about Willowick and what the situation is there, I have and have the hope that you as the Garden Grove City Council and the Santana City Council have the intelligence to actually do what is right by the community and what the community needs.
Necesitamos mirar al futuro para un desarrollo equilibrado. No solamente negocios, no solamente hoteles, no solamente cosas sofisticadas que realmente la comunidad no va a participar de ella.
We need to think of development more sustainably into the future, to a more balanced development, not just looking at businesses, not just looking at the creation of hotels, but looking to also to things that the community really actually needs.
Yo admiro mucho a la ciudad de Fountain Valley.
I admire a lot the city of Fountain Valley.
Porque en ella se ubica la milla cuadrada.
Because in that city we have Mile Square Park.
Y la ciudad de Garden Grove y Santana no lo tienen. Sería una buena oportunidad de pensar acerca de ello.
And the city of Garden Grove and the city of Santana don't have a park like that. And this Willowick would be a really good opportunity to actually think about like Mile Square Park.
Gracias por atenderme y espero que sea algo bueno para la comunidad del centro de Orange County.
Thank you for having me here today, and I really hope that it is used in a way that is very helpful for the community here in Central Orange County.
Gracias, señor. Jackie Cordova.
I'll be short.
You say in 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Jackie Cordova. I am a water protector from Santa Ana. I've also been a resident of Garden Grove. I stand in solidarity with Rise Up Willowick. Santa Ana stands up. We've been saying for years we do not approve of our city officials selling us out. We are hereby putting you on notice that your days of corruption are over. You have a higher source to answer to, and we are taking that power back. Our river is not for sale, and neither are we. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maureen Blackman.
Good evening, council and staff. I'm here to once again talk about our town hall that we call Meet on Main. Since we spoke last, we've had additional professionals sign on for our meeting. That would be Pastor James, and we also have a county mental health expert who will be there as well. And the meeting is this Thursday, February 27th. It's at the Courtyard on Main Street. It's from 6 until 7:30. If you want information, you can go to our Facebook page, Garden Grove Neighborhood Association. And one thing, we're not only excited to showcase these remarkable teams that we have, but we'd also like to hear from the residents as well. It's easy to sit behind your computer and bash the city and everything else in it, but it's not that easy to get out and actually come down and find out the answers, which might deflate your criticisms online. So if you please take the time to come out and hear some actual facts instead of rhetoric online, please do so. Thank you.
This is the last piece here.
Lala Trung.
Hello, Mayor, and hello, Council. Nice to see you guys again. As you know, I'm Lala Trong. I work for Congressman Lou Correa, and I'm just here today to inform you of an upcoming community event hosted by the Congressman. This March marks Women's History Month. Therefore, we will have, again, our annual Woman of the Year event. It will be on Saturday, March 28, 2020 at 11 a.m. at Chapman. Right now, we're taking nominations for exceptional women who work or live within the Congressman's district, cities including Anaheim, Santa Ana, Orange, and Garden Grove. So please, if you know any exceptional women, they can fall into these categories: business, community, education, public service, and youth. Please look into our website, correa.house.gov, and nominate an exceptional woman. The deadline is March 14th for nominations. I just wanted to inform the council as well as the Garden Grove residents. Thank you.
Thanks, Lala. So that concludes oral communications, takes us on to written communications. Craig, please. Thank you. Item 3A.
Item 3A is a consideration of a written request from Cub Scout Pack 271 for co-sponsorship of the annual Cub Scout Pushcart Derby on Saturday, April 25th, 2020. And Ms. Pelayo is here to give the report.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. The Cub Scout Pack 271 is requesting that the City Council consider approving co-sponsorship of the annual Cub Scout Pushcart Derby event on Saturday, April 25th, 2020. The Cub Scout Pack 271 is a nonprofit organization based in Garden Grove. Each year, the group coordinates a pushcart derby event that requires the closure of Springdale Street south of Lamson Avenue. The event is open to all of the Club Scouts in Garden Grove and in Orange County. Co-sponsorship of the annual Cub Scout Pushcart Derby will have an impact on the city's general fund for an approximate amount of $5,000. These expenses will be absorbed within the current police department budget since this is considered a lazy event. It is recommended that the City Council consider the request from Cub Scout Pack 271 for co-sponsorship of the annual Pushcart Derby event. This concludes staff report, and myself, as well as one of the organizers from the group, is here to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions or comments to staff? Thanks, Jeff Tackney, for being present. I don't think you necessarily need to say anything unless you want to.
No, I just want to personally invite each and every one of you out to the event. It's going to be April 25th from 7 a.m. to approximately 4 p.m. So we'd love to see you out there, and thank you again for your support.
Any questions, comments, or a motion?
I'd make a motion.
Second.
Please call the vote.
All good.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Because George founded it, doesn't mean he's got to actually make the motion or nothing.
Is it? I do have a question, actually, now that I think about it. Is this 17? 17 years? 18th, okay. Time
Awesome.
flies.
Great event. Great event. Okay, we're now going to recess to successor agency and then sanitary district thereafter. So, Madam Clerk, will you please call roll for successor agency?
Member Bridegham.
Here.
Member O'Neill.
Here.
Member Deidre Nguyen. Here. Member Klovenstein. Member Kim Nguyen.
Here.
Vice Chair Bowie.
Here.
And Chair Jones.
Here. We already did oral communications, takes us on to consent items. Do I have a motion for those two?
Approval.
Call the vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Any successor agency matters?
Nope.
Then we'll adjourn to sanitary district. Take it away, Mr.
Oh, that's me too.
That's you. Yeah, I was trying to hand it to John.
Okay. This is my very first session with the as a chair for the sanitary district. Well, we have done auto communication with the city council, so we move on to consent item. But before that, let Madam Clerk please do the roll call.
Member Bridegham.
Here.
Member Jones.
Here.
Member Klovenstein. Here. Member Kim Nguyen.
Here.
Member Deidre Nguyen.
Here.
Vice President O'Neill.
Here.
And President Bowie.
Yeah. So consent items, any motion?
Move it.
Second.
Please call the vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Next item 3A, do I have a staff report?
Yes, we do. Item 3A is award a contract to Chi Construction for project number 7840, the construction of the sewer system rehabilitation plan Phase 1, sewer main replacement project 1. And Mr. Murray is here to give the report.
Thank you, Ms. Pomeroy. President of the board, members of the board. Tonight, the board is being asked to award a contract to CHI Construction for the replacement of sewer mains at various locations in the city. Location is shown on a location map, which is attached to your staff report. In general, the main work area is bounded by Brookers to the west, 9th Street to the east, Chapman on the north, and Garden Grove Boulevard on the south. There is a separate stretch of pipe in Trask Avenue from Beach to Newland. The work will include the installation of 540 feet of 8-inch and 1,290 feet of 12-inch vitrified clay pipe and related structures to that. The project will replace existing sewer line, which is found to be aged and showing signs of deterioration. This condition is generally defined as defective. All work will be done at a cost just over $2.7 million. Staff received and opened 10 bids on January 23rd of this year and determined that CHI Construction was the lowest responsible bidder. Should the board decide to award the contract tonight, the contractor can begin work in May and should be complete by early next year. This project was included in this year's capital improvement plan and will be paid for using sewer enterprise funds. This concludes staff's report and I'm available should you have any questions.
Question, member? Okay, well, I don't see any questions.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Okay. Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Matters, any members? Seeing none, I now close the sanitary district meeting and adjourn back to the city council.
All right, we'll now go on to consent items, and for starters, I'm going to ask that, the applicant party on this is asking that we continue item 4D until the second meeting in March. So if we can pull that one, then it's recommended that we take action on the rest unless anyone would like to pull any other items. Call to vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Okay, public hearings, 5A.
Item 5A is adoption of a resolution revising the monetary penalties for violations of vehicle code and municipal code parking regulations. And Mr. Murray is here to give the report.
Thank you, Ms. Pomeroy. Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Tonight, council is being asked to adopt a resolution adjusting the parking fines in the vehicle code and the municipal code. All fines were last adjusted in 2013 per state legislation and have remained constant since. In 2019, staff began reviewing fines and determined an adjustment is required to keep up with inflation, which is best represented by the Consumer Price Index. Most fines will increase from $1 to $3. Furthermore, in response to concerns that fines were not sufficient to deter motorists from illegal parking near the Anaheim Convention Center, staff is proposing the current fine of $29 be elevated to $72, which matches the fine in Anaheim. Please note that the expansion of the Anaheim Convention Center a couple years ago and the subsequent cost to park at the center are the main driving factors for the parking issue near the center. Specifically, it's cheaper to get a fine in Garden Grove than to pay to park at the Anaheim Convention Center. Staff is also recommending a pass-through costs required by the state for indigent payment plans to be added to the fine amounts for those wishing to use a payment plan. And this is in compliance with recently passed state law.
This resolution requires a public hearing prior to adoption. This concludes staff's report, and I am available should you have any questions.
Any questions of staff? No questions. Public hearing item. I don't have any cards. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this particular item? Go for it.
Maybe we should start thinking about hotels, providing some form of active transportation to alleviate the burden, like stay at their hotel, because that's where we're going to Copenhagen in 5 years. Is that consider it as option to the hotel resident?
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Colleagues.
I'd like to make a motion.
Call to vote. Okay.
Okay. Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Alrighty, items for consideration 6A.
Item 6A is award contracts to Wildan and Wallace and Associates, Inc. to provide on-call construction inspection services. And again, Mr. Murray is here to give the report.
Thank you, Ms. Pomeroy, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Tonight, City Council is being asked to award a contract to Wildan and Wallace and Associates to provide on-call construction inspection services for the city's capital improvement projects. These are the projects that are managed by the Engineering Division of Public Works. Due to the passage of SB 1, new gas tax legislation, staff has determined that 2 on-call firms will be required to handle the projected workload in the near future. Staff received proposals from 4 qualified firms and rated the firms with respect to their experience and specific services offered. Staff negotiated a contract with the highest rated firms. Wildan and Wallace Associates were determined to be the most qualified and offered the highest level of service as rated by city staff. Both contracts are for a not-to-exceed cost of $500,000 each. The funding for these contracts is included in the capital improvement budget for the Public Works Department. Staff is recommending the professional service contracts be awarded tonight and to authorize the city manager to execute the agreements on behalf of the city. One final note with this, these contracts are getting a little pricey, and I'm going to be in the future recommending that we hire a full-time city inspector to pick up this workload. So that'll be coming up in the future, and we can discuss that later. This concludes my report, and I'm available should you have any questions.
Thanks, Bill. Any questions?
Yes. You were just leading into the question that I have in mind regarding, with these 2 positions, how much more it costs comparing to if we do it in-house?
Well, it depends on the contracts. Both of these are for $500,000 each, but we will not use that much money. It all depends on the availability of specific employees within the companies. And our ability will give us, having these contracts will allow us flexibility to manage multiple large-scale projects that are going on at the same time. Personally, I think that we have enough additional work that would warrant hiring a full-time employee in lieu of these contracts. So that's something that needs to go through the entire budget process and needs to be approved at a later date. The earliest that could possibly happen would be this summer. But for right now, we have a specific need, and our engineering staff has identified going with these two firms. If we decide to go in a different path in the future, these contracts can be easily canceled. So it's not like we're tied to these people forever.
I understand that, but can you clarify for me so that I can remember and ask on how are we doing with this with the type of works? So right now we are saying that we may have a need for 1 or 2 inspectors in addition to the in-house inspector that we have.
Our in-house inspector is primarily working on land development projects. that inspector that is employed with the engineering division.
Yes,
all of our capital improvements, we have contracted out and done so for a fairly long time. We used to have an additional capital improvement inspector, but that position was reduced 15 years ago or so.
So my question is, because I have no idea, right? So are we planning to work with this contractor for the next 12 months, or we are just doing that for the next 6 months and see how the workload is, and then we may, come to the council for, additional staff, to do it in-house, or what is your plan? I'm trying to get a feel for what we're going to do here.
Well, I really didn't want to get into that. I probably should have brought it up, but
these are the type of questions that we need to know in order to decide, right?
I don't think so. We have a pressing need now. So
Yes, I intend to vote yes on this too, because I understand you have a need.
In the
But I need
future-
I need to have a proactive approach to it and not just reactive. So, for example, if you get us know a little bit more about it, then maybe the direction to the city manager would be, to work with you to come up with additional budget so that you can hire people, and as opposed to, rely on the outsourcing this to this company.
Yes,
Those are the type of questions that I need to know.
Yeah,
we will look at that.
Councilman, if I could just chime in for a second, you're exactly right. So what we would do in a situation like this is I would be working with the Public Works Department over the next 3-4 months as we get ready for our next cycle of our budget evaluation when we go into our continuation budget. And we'll make a recommendation to the council about whether to continue this contract or whether we should hire some more staff. So more to come on that.
Sure. So could I be, saying on the record that the city management will work with, Public Works to make sure that this personnel resource will be addressed during the next council retreat?
That's absolutely the right reason, and that's what we'll be doing with Public Works, Finance, our Budget Department going forward, so that we have a plan going forward. We can make a good recommendation to you.
Okay, good, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Or do I have a motion? Would you like to make a motion, Pat?
Yes, I move the motion.
Call to vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Okay, that takes us on to matters from council. We do have one agenda, so 7A from Kim Wynn. This consideration to adopt a proclamation recognizing the Todd England's Home for Children and their 15th annual gala celebration.
I don't think I have to say much more. Pretty much says it under there. And I did mention at the last meeting that I'd be bringing it forward for this meeting so we could get it approved and get a pretty frame and present it to them at their 15th annual gala. So I'd appreciate a 7-0 vote to pass this. Thank you.
Second.
Call to vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, matters from council members. George. Shiny new car.
Yes. When we're going to take a ride?
We'll go cruising this weekend. Couple items. Last weekend was the West Coast baseball parade. Had a great time. It's great seeing everybody there. Also, I attended Eagle Scout Court of Honor for Michael and Freddie Gonzalez. Shout out to you guys, fine young men who just made the rank of Eagle Scout here in Garden Grove. So, and that's about it. Nothing for me.
Just a little shout out to the scout. We had they have the called the flag ceremony for the New Year in Garden Grove Park over the weekend. So I think about 1,100 scout was there. So it was a big event. So congratulations! This is the second time that they host the event in Garden Grove Park.
No.
I just have a couple quick things. First of all, please consider attending the Meet on Main on Thursday. The Courtyard Center, I think it'll be very informative. It gives you an opportunity to meet neighbors, people from the police department, as well as Public Works, and just learn more about their synergy and efforts and how they're working together. That's Thursday night. The flyer is on Facebook. I believe it starts at 6 o'clock. I really should know that. But the other thing I wanted to mention is, oddly enough, we're moving back into mosquito season again, which feels like we never really left it, which is pretty much the case today. So as the trustee for Garden Grove for Vector Control, myself and staff and the PR team from Vector are going to be meeting soon to talk about the rollout of the 2020 campaign for the season ahead and what we're doing just to provide that continued outreach and education to the community. One of the things I'd like to see about, and it may already be there, I'm not 100% sure, we do have a page on our city website that talks about mosquito issues, West Nile virus, and so forth. And every month I get kind of a status report from the district about what's going on in Garden Grove, pools treated, how many adult mosquito sample pools are active for West Nile or not. It's just some really great information. Maybe a little dry reading, but it's important information, as especially we move into the summer months when things are really happening. Maybe I could get that to you guys in a PDF, and we could put that on that page, just if residents are curious to see what the district's doing actually in Garden Grove day to day. I think it'd be good. And then finally, I had an opportunity to go over to the Garden Grove Unified School District today. They were doing some judging for the First Impressions art competition. Scott Stiles was also there, as were some staff members, and it was just amazing to see the caliber and level of art. We have some amazingly talented students in the Garden Grove Unified School District. And so it was really fun and very difficult to choose. So I'm assuming that their art is going to be shown and displayed, I think, at our what are we calling it? Art in the Park, thank you, coming up in March. And so it's something not to be missed. It's amazing to see their talent. And so definitely attend Art in the Park in March. Thank you.
I just would like to take a moment to express our condolence to Mayor Jones. Mayor Jones' father-in-law just passed away on Sunday. And Manny and Steve is a longtime friend of our family. We are deeply touched that you, during this difficult time, but you still, be here to run the city council meetings. If we can, if there's anything we can do, please let us know. And in the meantime, our prayer and our heart is with the family.
General Counsel would like me to tell you that we had a closed session item before, and we had closed session before, there's no reportable action from that.
Correct.
Scott Stiles, City Manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, council members, just two quick items. One is at our next council meeting, the Southern California Association of Governments, otherwise known as SCAG, has released their RENA numbers, which is their regional needs assessment of what every city needs to do in terms of housing. Garden Grove has a really big number that they've laid on us, and it's going to impact the city over the next 10 years. What we want to do is agendize a presentation. I know council members are up to speed on it, but more for the community. It would be sort of RENA 101, sharing what some of the methodology is, what some of the challenges we have in front of us. So we'll take about 15 minutes or so at the next meeting to just do a little overview of that. So just wanted to give you a heads up about that. And then, Mr. Mayor, I've got a couple talking points about the upcoming annual Art in the Park, unless you wanted to say some words about it.
Go for it.
Okay. Our staff did want to remind the community about our second annual Art in the Park event taking place next Saturday, March 7th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the Village Green Park. The event is in collaboration with Garden Grove Unified School District. Village Green, as council members will know, will be transformed into an outdoor interactive arts festival featuring all the school districts' 42nd annual First Impressions student art exhibits, some of which Councilmember Kloppenstein mentioned, and why anybody would think I'm qualified to judge art is beyond me. But I did my best. There's going to be lots of fun activities, do-it-yourself projects, live performances, and a unique experience to paint our iconic tower on the green, clock tower. Not sure exactly what that means, but you're also going to be able to enjoy a beverage from Steel Crafts Garden Grove's Beechwood Brewing. And so you can learn more about this free event by visiting the city's website at ggcity.org. And so just a reminder, hope to see everybody there on March 7th. That's all I had.
Thank you, and with that, we stand adjourned.